welcome to the No Grow Scale podcast. I am a solo episode right now. I have a lot of questions circulating with clients, with friends, with industry experts, just around the topic of, hey, when do we bring marketing in-house with all of these AI tools? How do we know who to partner with? When do we partner? When do we hire somebody in-house and have a marketing agency? And I get this question a lot. We have this conversation a lot as a marketing agency owner for managed services providers, IT businesses, and telecom. Obviously, we are conditioned to make sure that our clients have all the information they need to make good decisions, whether or not we're together as partners or they are bringing folks in-house. So I really wanted to spend just a little bit of time talking about what's happening right now in the world of AI. At what size, AI or not AI, at what size does your MSP, IT business, telecom business, your solution provider business, when is the time to actually bring somebody on? And when you do, what does that person do? And then where are their holes where that person is not going to be able to fill those gaps? And one of the things that is really important is that you hear me say I was a marketing leader for a managed services provider business for 9 years. And so I deeply understand this role, what the expectations of this person are, how to make sure that you have good agency partnerships or good growth partners when it comes to this. So I actually, have seen a lot of people, who have built momentum on, a variety of different things. And now that AI is here, they're trying to figure out how do we best utilize the marketing coordinator type role with these AI tools. But then, if you pull the plug on everything you're doing, nothing is ranking or converting, or, you don't have attribution built around everything. So I am going to preach from the rooftops as long as I live just how important it is to get this foundation set correctly. You can Band-Aid sales problems, marketing problems with a person or a tool or an AI infrastructure all you want. But if you do not have the proper foundation, you do not have a good understanding of your differentiator and some of these really foundational things, it's going to be very hard for an agency or an internal marketing person to be able to do it well. So let's not confuse, cheap and fast with smart. It can cost you more of compounding growth than it can help you if you're not really doing it under the right framework as it relates to building your marketing engine and your marketing system. So we're going to talk about a couple different things. A lot of people say, Laura, when do I hire an agency? When do I let go of the agency? When do I bring somebody in-house? That in-house person has a very specific, especially your first in-house hire, a very specific job function. So we want to talk about that a little bit. Let's get into it. So number one is the AI trap. Right now we are trying to get things done fast. And I just want to say speed without strategy is not marketing. It's going to be a lot of output that you will find in 3, 6, 8, 10 months doesn't really come back to value or ROI. So here's what's happening right now, just to be real specific. These MSP owners, you're getting flooded on social media with tools that promise to do everything quickly. You send it to somebody, maybe it's something that replaces 2 or 3 things that you're doing, and you're making decisions based on that promise. So then you cancel the things maybe that have been building momentum, or you have invested in something for a period of time and you don't have proper attribution, so you're not sure if it's working, and then you get this new tool and you hand it to somebody on your team who really doesn't have the time to learn it and don't understand how to prompt it correctly, or don't have the foundational marketing knowledge to make it produce anything meaningful. And then what comes out on the other side is just a lot of output, content, or maybe nothing, to be honest. But you've got, a lot of software you're paying for, and you're maybe putting out some blog posts or social posts or email campaigns, some volume that looks productive but really produces nothing. And then that kind of next layer is the content is not being built on what it needs to be built on today, which is an AEO strategy. Nobody's asking your buyers what questions they're asking and incorporating that into your strategy. Nobody's mapping out keywords to intent with the right tools. Nobody's really thinking about how Google's AI overviews are changing and what gets serviced and what doesn't, because to be completely honest, you just handed your team member an AI tool and said, figure this out. So AI is really a production tool. It's not a strategy tool. You can certainly do strategy with AI, but there's no form of AI that's going to replace 20 years of understanding your customer and the search landscape and the channel and the system that really ties it all together. So that deep expertise is not going to be replaced by a prompt. And number two is just that one person can't do 2 jobs, 10 jobs, 15 jobs. I actually experienced this, that marketing hire fantasy is costing a lot of MSPs more than they think. I talk to people all the time who just want to hire one person and throw that, replace their agency with one person. And this is whether you're using me in your business or, any other agency, whatever, industry you're in. You can't find one person who can do SEO, web, CRM, social media, brand voice, content strategy, design, paid ads, AI search, go-to-market strategy, email. Like, that one person does not exist. Trust me, I tried to find that person. And strategy alone is a full discipline. I'm personally best at strategy. My whole team handles the execution of our marketing and our clients' marketing. And that's not because I couldn't go in there and figure it out, but the time that it would take me to figure it out paired with what I'm best at, strategy at a high level, and like, those are things that are not the same. And so SEO, is a specific job function. So is design, so is CRM. And we want to keep getting better at these things individually so that our marketing can keep getting better comprehensively. When you bring in one person and spread them thin across 8 to 10 jobs, you're not going to get a marketing department. You're going to get a burned out person who is not doing their best work across every channel. And then you've got Google's algorithm or AI search constantly changing, and no one's noticing because they're knee deep in the work. So the question for your business is not really, do you need a person? Yeah, probably at some point. I usually, say about the $20 million mark. Well, I'll talk about this in a minute. But the question is, what does this person actually own? What does this person do? And I'll tell you exactly what that is in just a minute. But I actually, kind of to my third point, I call this field marketing. What is field marketing? You don't necessarily need a CMO. Okay? A CMO, I was one. I'm for them. But, and maybe you want to put that title to someone, that's fine. But at $20 million, you need boots on the ground. You hire an agency that knows the industry and understands what they're doing. At a certain size, there are things that agencies cannot do for you. I can't take your photos at every install. I can't support inside sales in real time all the time. I can't create internal communications. I'm not in your building. I can't keep your culture tight and your employees informed. I can't show up to every team meeting. That's field marketing. The field marketing person around 20 million mark is when you need that person. But their job is not SEO, it's not AEO strategy, it's not paid search, it's not your website, it's not your brand messaging. The full-time job, it's really not even deep marketing work that's going to require, somebody living in this discipline every day. It's going to be a person that reports into your business and serves employees in your sales team, and they capture what's happening on the ground, and they feed that into your agency partner to amplify. And so that's what that role is. They are really the connective tissue. They're not the engine. So that's the difference between the two. You still need the engine. One person cannot be that engine. And so when you hire the wrong person for this role, I see this, happen a good bit. You get somebody that's burnt out. It's a generalist. She or he has been doing this, trying to be everything. And you've got CEOs breathing on your back, and you got, people who have high expectations of that one person, and that job description is just not gonna be the right fit. You still need that engine, and then also the field marketing person. So, and then a couple more things. Just know that strategy and AEO, SEO do lead to everything in this day and age. Conference selfies are great, but they're not your content strategy. And I see it all the time. The CEO goes to an event, comes back really fired up. The marketing team spends the next couple weeks producing content about the event, but it's not going to produce results from a search standpoint. Us on stage and at dinner, and here's what this vendor, and here's what we learned. That's great stuff. It's the highlight reel, but it's not going to bring those new buyers into your world. You want both. The content that's really going to build authority right now in 2026 with the way that Google and AI search is changing everything. It's evolving. This is built on a foundation of real questions your buyers are asking. What's your buyer typing into, Gemini, Perplexity, or Copilot? What questions are triggering this AI overview? What answers position you as the expert in your marketing? That's AEO, answer engine optimization, and it requires everyone who lives in AEO, SEO. It requires that person living in it every day. That's what our team does for our clients. Search right now is shifting really fast. One internal person handling all these things cannot keep up with those shifts. It's just a fact. So strategy needs to drive everything around SEO, AEO. Those are the foundations under all of your content. When you skip that layer and just start producing, you're creating a lot of output that moves nothing, and your CEO is going to come back and ask you why. So foundation before fuel every time. And then lastly, there is an order to this. A lot of people in our space are skipping steps, and the framework is really a decision framework you can do by revenue stage. Here's what you actually, where you are, here's what your marketing structure should look like. At 3 million, you need your foundation, clear messaging, website that converts, a defined differentiator, a brand voice, a CRM that's actively working, basic foundational content. That's what we call no here at the Business Growers. Don't spend $1 of paid traffic until this is locked in. More traffic is not going to fix that foundation problem. You just need, you send more people to a broken experience faster, and you don't want to do that. At 12 million, you need clear outbound strategy running alongside consistent inbound. You need a partner who knows your space. A generalist agency at this point is not going to cut it at this stage. Your buyer has been burned. They're skeptical. They need 13 to 17 touches before they trust anybody long enough to have a real conversation. This is a system implemented that creates those touches. It's not a vendor running random campaigns, and you do not need to be directing this. This is the grow stage when you're working with us here at the Business Growers. And then at 20 million and up, when you start adding that field marketing person, the internal team support, field content, sales enablement, video content at scale, you start thinking about that. You're leading into that. That person works alongside your agency, not instead of it. Your agency handles that deep work, and that internal person handles the ground level. And both of those things really matter. And when you get to that 30 million and beyond, you need a true content syndication system, video firing off, a human voice that runs it, a human voice element to it, not just a bunch of random content, a talking head, recognizable face in your business that can show up everywhere and create that content that compounds. That's what we call scale at our business. That's where really things the flywheel really starts to spin. And what I see most often is somebody who hires a single internal person at 3 million and thinks that person is going to cover them all the way. And then they, maybe at 12 million, they fire an agency and hand it off to AI. And both of those decisions are really skipping steps and causing us to take steps backwards. So don't fall into this trap. I highly recommend you have conversations around this in your business. You don't want this to cost you more momentum than you've already built. So the order of operations, I will always say foundation before fuel, always. If you take one thing from this episode, take this. The next question is not agency or in-house. The question is, what stage are you at? What stage does this actually require? Get that foundation right before you add fuel. Hire for the job you actually need, not the job in 20 years. And don't let cheap AI tools talk you out of the expertise that it was building something for you. If you've got questions on this, you know where to find me. I'm always so open to talking about this. Thank you for subscribing to the No Grow Scale podcast. Make sure that you keep in touch with us so that we can give you more good info about how to grow your business. Thanks so much.